Are you back again? Well, again, great decision. Glad you're here. So this is number 3. We're all the way down almost to the end of this list. And this is regarding the top 10 cheat codes to create a professional quantum leap in your business. Now, these are not limited to you being a business owner. If you're a professional and you're trying to create quantum leaps in the company that you're working for and your contributions as a professional, this list should provide some value there. But with that said, I want to jump right in and share that the Dinosaurs Called, and they are going to take traditional note-taking with them into extinction. And here's why. This is a funny story, and I got to tell you, first and foremost, I'm crazy about my wife, Lindsay. I always want to help her, in any way possible, just think she hung the moon. So several weeks back, she was working late into the evening, and she was typing up some notes. And I was like, oh man, why are you typing up notes? It's pretty late in the evening. And she said, well, I got to get this done. It's for a meeting that I had today. And I said, well, why are you doing that? And, thinking back, it's kind of funny because I'm like, well, she's working late. Why am I asking the question of why she's working late? Because the fact she probably doesn't need me questioning why she's working late. And so with that said, I said, you should seriously think about an AI note taker to take care of this for you, because you're a busy professional, in a leadership role, and more time back in your day, I'm sure would be appreciated. So with that said, we had a brief conversation about AI note takers. And if you haven't experienced this, I do have to say that they've been out a little while. Some folks are aware, some folks are using them, and then there's still quite a few folks that are not familiar with what an AI note taker is. So let me briefly explain it. So they come in various capacities. They work on a ton of different platforms. I'm not going to go into that in this video. That's not the purpose of this. What I am here to share with you, because I think it's essential as a professional, because we've been taking notes for, since pencils and pens have been written, but only recently has it been achievable to have essentially an assistant for everybody. You don't even have to hire them. I mean, a lot of this is free. And so with that said, now is the time to take advantage of this and really create a force multiplier for yourself. And you're going to get more time back in your day, which then creates, a savings from a cost standpoint. Because, if you're a busy executive, you have to hire someone to help you with those notes, because of the fact that it's a better use of that, upper level executive's time to have someone take those meeting notes and stuff like that, or meeting minutes. If you are not able to hire someone in your place, then you are stuck doing it. And oftentimes it's in the margin hours of your day because you don't have enough time in your day to do it in the first place. And so with that said, the AI note taker really is a tremendous solution here. And I'll describe it in brief detail because it comes in various forms, lots of different options out there. And I'll share a few towards the end of this video today. It's not meant to be a specific endorsement, but much more of a have experienced these and seen what they can do, and you might try them out too. So with that said, what is it? Well, with a lot of work progressing online in the last few years, with everything kind of being shut down, with that in mind, like, people went to video conferencing like crazy, and as a result, you're on the video conference and you're trying to keep up and looking down while you're on a video conference. I mean, a lot of the things I talked about in this video just a few minutes ago were about 738-55, which 7% is what is said, 38% is how it's said, and 55% are all the other things that are going on around it. Well, we are still on a screen here, whoever was watching this, and thank you for watching. So you do miss out on some of the cues that you would be able to pick up on in person. Now, it's much better than a phone call. Let's just be honest with that. When you're on a phone, you can only hear the person. You can hear a little bit of the inflection in the voice and stuff like that. You might be able to tell if they're smiling. You might be able to tell if they're having a tough time or whatever. But when you see someone face to face like this, it adds a whole bunch more as far as the layers go from the communication standpoint. Well, if you were in a video conference meeting and you didn't have an AI note taker and you're looking down like this and you're writing out and stuff like that, well, that doesn't create the best connection when the person on the other end is searching to create that connection. That's the whole point in relationship building and stuff like that. So if you're in a meeting, the challenge is that how do you take notes and not be looking down all the time and stuff like that? And if your notes are out of the screen, even though the person is logically thinking, oh, that person's taking notes, it doesn't quite connect like you think it does, like it does in person where you see someone taking notes. So we're humans, we're built a certain way. We like having all the cues that we can get as far as, social situations. So writing notes by hand, whether it was in a video conference or even in person, we're going to talk about that in a second. That really takes up a lot of time. It takes away your focus, and you're not able to capture, a super high percentage. And even the most gifted note takers, they still miss pieces because of the fact that people talk much faster than they can write. And that's what I mentioned in the video from Tuesday, or at least one of the videos. So if you don't know about that, go check that out. Now, with that said, so you've got somebody looking down, or you've got someone in a meeting who's, writing down notes and stuff like that. They have to turn their attention back and forth between the conversation because it's not easy to keep track of both at the same time. You either have to focus on writing or focus on listening. It is a little bit of a challenge to do both and do them well. Some people do it better than others. So that's a lot of buildup to say AI note takers have replaced this awkwardness that is note taking in its traditional form. And that's why the dinosaurs have stopped by. They are going to take traditional note taking with them. They've claimed it for themselves as far as extinction goes. And I would strongly encourage you that if you have not experienced an AI note taker, that you take a look at them, because like I said, they come in various forms. So there is the form that, like, if you're on a video conference, you can install on top of your, your video conference platform, or you can create it as an extension add-on to basically come into the call and take notes for you. Now, with that said, there's some etiquette around note taking. I'll talk about that in a second. But from the standpoint of functionality, what's amazing about this is that this technology listens to the conversation and creates a transcript. Now, these things are getting so good, and I'll tell you how good they are. So in 2015, I was doing a turnaround for a business unit in a hospital, and that I mentioned this in a previous video. We were using the AI for speech to text at that point, and that's in a separate video. And it was so good back then for just a free Chrome browser add-on. It was in the high 90s as far as accuracy. Now, with that said, the features have come so far since 2015. We're 9 years out from that, and it is so much better. It hears women's voices better, which the original technology didn't, because there's so much up and down in the pitch of most female voices, and it couldn't pick up on that. It did great with monotone voices like mine, but now the functionality and the results go so much further. So you've got this AI note taker in your Zoom call, in your Google Meet call, in your Microsoft Teams call. And what it does is it sits there and it passively listens the whole time. And that technology is essentially transcribing, and it'll do an audio file too if you want it, which is great. And some even, will take the video of if you want to record it. But various platforms have different ways of recording too, as far as like it being a separate standalone or as a part of the AI note taker. But so you've got this passive listening going on. It's listening to the conversation. It's recording multiple voices, okay? And it's at least 90% accurate. Most of these platforms are about 90+% accurate. Now, why is that important? Well, if you've got multiple voices and you're writing with a pencil or pen or whatever, you also have to be fast on the fly to not only listen to what's going on in the conversation that's moving pretty quickly, but then also attribute to the person who said what, okay? Excuse me. Now, with that in mind, with an AI note taker on a video conferencing system, it will interact with the names of the people and then assign the speaking pretty effectively to each individual speaker of what they said, and it'll timestamp it too, which is pretty cool. Now, from a legal standpoint, this can be very useful, and I want to be clear, I'm not a lawyer and I'm not advising you on anything legal, but having a transcript that's time-stamped and all that kind of stuff can help. The other thing that it can do too is that it not only creates a transcription, it also can create an automated AI-generated meeting summary, which means that short form of what went on in the meeting. It can identify the topics in the meeting. It can also identify the action items in the meeting too, which is incredible. Like all this stuff is generated automatically. It's very quick after the meeting. For most of these platforms, it generates it pretty quickly. And so you can store it locally. You can store it on, in the companies that produce these things on their platforms as well. But just imagine, like, instead of you sitting there, being conflicted between listening, paying attention, looking up, and being perceived as an active, engaged participant, or, looking down and writing and stuff like this. And then, someone says, oh, so-and-so is just writing the whole time. Well, that has happened. I mean, it's not uncommon that people may identify someone as they were, writing too much and not paying attention or something like that. And it's an errant judgment because that person might be the note taker in past engagements. But with an AI note taker, you've got this device or this technology that essentially does all the work, and you get to sit there and actively participate in the meeting, actively, or you listen more actively than you were before. The results are incredible. And so with that said, when it first came out, it made many people uncomfortable when it was coming into the different video conferencing platforms and stuff like that. Now, since then, the lack of comfort has kind of toned down a little bit, I would say. I think more professionals are aware of it. And I guess, over time, you kind of get used to it. With that said, if you are using an AI note taker for the first time, you definitely want to do the legwork and tell the people that you're going to be engaging with that you're going to be using an AI note taker, so that you can focus your attention on them and not on taking notes, and say, look, this is a passive, it's recorded. Make sure you're using a secure platform, a secure AI note taker, so that you can tell them, hey, this is a secure conversation. I'm doing it so that I have better notes. If you're doing it for board meeting minutes, it's another great way to capture that. With a local networking group, we had to talk about some meeting minutes, and I said, why are we writing this stuff down when we can just have the AI note taker do it? So we're putting that in place right now. So with that said, I think etiquette is a strong way to move this in the right direction, and that means letting people know in advance. Some of these AI note takers will send an automated email to your meeting partner or partners, depending on how many will be in the meeting, and it'll say, so-and-so wants to record this conversation with whatever note taker, Fathom, Otter, Fireflies, whatever. Do you consent to this? And then you can select yes or no. Now, with that said, I think you can take it a step further, especially if it's going to be a little bit more intense meeting, to reach out and say, hey, I'm going to, with your permission and you're not, I'm going to go ahead and record our meeting so we can, keep this stuff on the books about what we talked about and stuff like that. So I think that's a really important piece, is the etiquette behind it, because if you just show up to a meeting and you've got this AI note taker, if people didn't consent to it, depending on your state laws, you can get yourself in trouble for recording something that you didn't ask for permission to record. So I think that there's definitely some potential challenges there. And different states have different laws, and you want to know where you can reach as far as that goes. But beyond etiquette, here's another thing too. If you send your note taker to a meeting because you're not going to be at the meeting, that can really put people off. And I was in a networking group where we actually bounced out note takers that came when the person didn't, and they weren't allowed to be a part of the meeting. So if the person wasn't able to make it, it's unfortunate, but it's just the way it is. We didn't want to make the people that did come to the meeting feel uncomfortable because they were being recorded with no designee, so to speak, from the person that was sending the AI recording device. So with that said, I want to briefly talk about some of the different AI note takers. So I've been doing a lot of work with Fireflies.ai. They have a robust value-added free program where you can get a lot accomplished with it with their basic plan. What's really neat is Fireflies integrates with the video conferencing platforms. It also has an app that you can download to your phone so that you can have in-person meetings where the phone will be the passive recording device. I did a test with this just the other day. It was really neat because of the fact that, again, on the free program, it identified the topics. It showed how long the meeting was. It showed different voices and all that kind of stuff too. And what's really neat about that is that that's for in-person meetings, but it can also be used for video conferencing platforms as well. So then there's some other options too. So two other popular ones that I see regularly are Otter and also Fathom. Both of these are very commonly used, and you have to make the decision about which one's right for you. I'm not endorsing any of these products. I will say that I'm very pleased the fact that Fireflies has such a robust free program. Hats off to them. Their paid programs offer even more functionality. I do like the fact that they have an app that you can put down on your phone, that then if you're in a meeting, you just put the phone in the middle of the table so it can hear everybody's voice. And then you have a way to transcribe that meeting, so you're not sitting there, typing or writing up notes or typing them up on your computer or whatever, or doing it after the fact. And here's the thing. I shared this the other day, and this kind of blew some folks' mind. In healthcare especially, I've heard this from multiple different professionals, and I think it's pretty true. Like if you do your patient documentation after 3 days, it's fiction. You're just kind of making it up to fill in and check the boxes for someone that you saw 3 days ago. And the result is that that's not truthful when it comes to, documentation. So I think the fact that the Fireflies and these different AI note takers, it allows you to get the information in real time. Our brain tends to delete things very quickly after the fact. And there's a kind of a statistic, I guess, that if you go to training, you forget about 90% of what was in the training within 30 days. Well, if you were at a meeting and there was a whole bunch of content that was delivered in the meeting and you don't follow up on those notes until days afterwards, then it's fiction. So this AI note taker opportunity just really creates a new stream for professionals to leverage the power of technology to take workload off their plate that they don't really need to be doing in most aspects. There may be some specific use cases, but overall, the AI note takers can do the notes and leave it to them because of the fact that traditional note taking, I think the T-Rex is going to stop by and probably pick it up and take it back with him. So just to wrap up, one more thing I'll share with you. There's a company called Tactic, and it's TACTIQ, and there's another company called Sembly, SEMBLY, and both of those are also note takers. And then here's the thing. Inside of so many different platforms, they also have note takers in those platforms. So I'm not going to go into that today. It's a lot of tech talk for the fact that really we're focusing on ways to create quantum leaps for you as a professional, as a business owner. And I think that this is a big one here because of the fact, if you are a professional in most capacities, you're going to be in meetings. If you're a business owner, it's almost guaranteed you're going to be in meetings. I think that you do need to be on the up and up. You do need to use good etiquette. You do need to inform people, and you need to know your state laws too, for sure. But the amount of time this can give you back in your day, and ultimately the money savings that goes with the time savings, it's just a no-brainer. So take this, run with it, have fun. Let me know in the comments if you found this valuable. If you put a note taker in place or you have one in place, I'd love to hear your thoughts on your note taker if you have one, or if you put one in place, come back to this video and comment on if that has saved you time. But this strategy here, this is number 3, number 4 that I just did shortly before this one, and then number 5 from earlier in the week. These are all about multi-$1,000 time and money savings for you as a professional and as a business owner. So hope you take it, hope you use it, hope there's value for you, and come back soon because we've got just a couple more strategies, and then we're just going to keep doing this because of the fact that there's a lot of opportunity to serve business owners and also professionals to kind of fast track the cheat codes for them to make their daily lives easier, more productive, more efficient. So have a great day. Have a great afternoon. Take care.